Rise and shine, Rwanda. It's Friday, the 18th of December.
Welcome to Rise and Shine Rwanda weekly review show where we take you back through the best of the week here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. It's just past 7 o'clock in the morning and my name is Ivan Magwene.
And I'm Yvette Shimbusho. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you a review of the week's top stories, analysis, debate, and insights into the stories making headlines here in Rwanda and across the world. The Rise and Shine crew have throughout the week been diligently gathering and preparing everything you need to know about what's happening here in Rwanda and around the world.
Well, it's been a busy week for us here at the Rise and Shine headquarters, and some of the stories that I put it on were about the referendum. Rwandans vote for a constitution amendment today, while the diaspora voted yesterday, a few hours after we had just discussed about the referendum on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look back. Rwandans today and tomorrow are voting for a constitution amendment. The process of amending the constitution is the result of petitions from and consultation with the population, which were discussed and approved by both chambers of parliament. After the approval, the draft of the amended constitution was sent to the cabinet, which paved the way for the ongoing referendum. Today, we take a deep insight into the general preparation of this turning point in Rwandan politics. And joining us in studio today to talk about the referendum is Honorable Ambassador Mutimura Zeno. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, of course, it's the buzz of the news. We know as Rwandans we're going to the polls this Thursday and Friday. For the diaspora, Thursday, and for the locals here, it's Friday. So first of all, I want to know, Mr. Honorable Mutimura, today Rwandans in the diaspora are making an important decision in the political future of this nation. As legislatures, you have had a long time moving around upcountry and in Kigali, talking about the constitution amendments. How prepared are the Rwandan citizens? And do you think they really understand what they are voting for?
Thank you so much. We are confident, we are sure the population understands. That is, we've been moving, well, first and foremost, it's not the first time that I've gone to the population. Even before that, I've been visiting the population in our mission. I remember very well, way back in February this year, the whole parliament decided to visit the population on their routine of going to the people to listen to their problems, to check on the implementation of certain programs. That is the duty of oversight by the parliament. So I've been in the population. Then you have this time around, the time in July when you come down to find out, after having accepted the demand from the population, we also went down to confirm what they had requested for and give an opportunity to those who had not demanded the change of the constitution. So we've been going to the population. With all that time, we've been in contact. So we've been listening to them. We can see currently the mood they have, the turn up when we go to the sectors. So I think we are sure they are ready.
So come the day Rwandans are ready to do that?
They are ready. They are ready.
Okay, moving on to this question. For some, it is a constitution amendment. But briefly explain to us, what are the key articles going to be amended after this referendum?
Well, first and foremost, there are articles that have been changed in content, and have articles that have been changed in phrasing, and there are new articles that have also been introduced. There are also articles that have been removed for a number of reasons. Those ones which have been overtaken by events. like the Gachacha, law relating to Gachacha, because the Gachacha is finished, has finished work. So some of those have been removed. So the key articles that have been amended, first and foremost, the population requested that Article 101 gets amended to give His Excellency the President the opportunity for the people to elect him come 2017. So that one has been changed. If you want to know how it has been changed, first of all, the population, well, quite a number of people are saying, remove it, give us an opportunity to elect him again. It wasn't a question of saying remove 101, because 101 has to remain anyway. You can't come from 100 to 102. So 101, the population wanted first and foremost to leave it open, remove term limits. That's one school of thought. Others were saying open for the president alone. Then there were other opinions also. Give 5-term open. Others give it open and let the rest, close for the rest. All those are issues. Now, when we were examining this, we had also the assistance of a commission which was put in place to help a 7-man commission, which was helping the parliament try this, change this constitution. So we came up with the 101 rephrased such that the presidential term is one term of 5 years, renewal once. But again, at the back of our mind, some people are demanding open for the president alone and close for the rest. So what does this 101 say? We had to have another article, 172, based on the demands of the population, based on the reasons why they requested. This one is one of the transitional articles which stipulates that come 2017, the serving president and another one who represents himself will be elected for a term of 7 years. Then after 7 years, what the law says in that article, that is 2024. That's when we shall start the 5-year term renewal once. So whoever is elected in 2017 will have a 7-year term. And then you'll have an opportunity to be the one to start with the clause now, 5-year term renewal once. So this is a key article. That's the basis on which the population requested to review the constitution. But there was also a request to look at other articles, which I told you about. Well, let's go, for example, starting from the preamble. In the preamble, there is one thing that was introduced, the recognition, the honoring of the founding fathers of this nation, the Rwandans who founded this country. It is also appearing in the preamble. There is also recognition and the honoring the liberators of this country, the people who liberated this country, who ushered in peace, security, and justice that is prevailing in the country. So that's in the preamble. Then you have also an article where you have a chapter 1. Chapter 1 talks about Rwandans making decisions independently. They have an independence in making their own decisions. And then you come to Article 1. It's Article 1 which was Article 2, which actually is the basis for the population to be empowered to change this constitution. That one talks about the power derives, all the powers derive from the people. The people themselves are the ones who are empowered to change the constitution.
Yes. On that same question now, that brings me, of course, I think this whole idea, because it's a lot of debates going on this same issue. But Mr. Mutimura, because we've been seeing different opinion polls, a majority of Rwandans want the amendment of this constitution. Now, let me ask you this question. If a majority says yes, just a curious question, then what does this mean and what's next for our constitution?
Well, first of all, when does it become the majority? It becomes the majority when there are two options. I say yes for this constitution that's been amended.
Yes.
Those who are for the reviewed constitution will vote yes in the referendum. Those who are not for it will vote no. Okay, if 50 plus 1 vote yes, that means the constitution becomes law. That's what it means. And a law that will be replacing what the existing law. That's what it means.
Yeah, all right. Now, of course, as we come to the final conclusion of our talk, because we're out of time, but you are a political man, and let me put you on the spot for this question. Beyond the constitution amendment for the referendum and the Article of 101, what is your own view of the political future after this referendum?
That's a very good question. First of all, what motivated the population to demand that this constitution changes? And the constitution we're reviewing is the constitution of 2003. 2003, the government put up a constitutional commission, which wants the population to teach them, to convince them, to tell them that actually it is their duty to write this constitution. If you remember that time, 2003, the situation was fluid. I would rather feel the history behind, which was very bad, was still fresh in people's minds.
Of course.
So that's why the commission was trying to convince them. This time around, 2015, there was nobody who was supposed to go there to convince them. It's the people themselves, based on the test. They have had a test of good leadership in the first place. They are no longer scared of the past. They are looking for solutions to these problems. But at the same time, they still feel we need to be sure of where we are going. That's why they requested that the president who has served them well should be given a chance to accomplish at least the programs he has set in motion. So when we talk about that, then between 2003 and 2015, the Rwandan population is totally different. They are aware. And also, they requested this because in their constitution, they knew there are articles that empower them. It's their own constitution. There's nobody else who has power to change this constitution. So that one gives us the trajectory. The future is bright. That's my conviction.
All right. Your own understanding, the future is bright. And
Very
even
bright.
better because we've had that conversation better than we had in 2003.
That's right, yes.
And the people have been involved.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And we hope to have you maybe next time. And thank you for coming out to the studio and taking your time to visit us.
Thank you. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Perhaps now the question lies, of course, to the Rwandans to go and vote yes or no and determine your own future. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. Business news coming up next with, of course, our very own Yvette Shumbusho.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
you voted?
In a few minutes, I'll be going out to cast my vote, of course.
Me too. So about the discussion you had yesterday with the MP, I just wanted to ask you, you asked him if the people of Rwanda are ready. And I want to ask you the same question. Are you ready?
Well, precisely, personally, I think I'm ready. I think I know what I want.
Yes.
And I know what I want for this country. But according to Honorable Mutimura, he said that, well, if you look at what they have been doing as members of parliament, it's not the first time that they go out to the people. Of course, they represent the people.
Yes.
And they really know that people are ready. And come today, come the hours, people are going to vote what they believe and stand for. So people are ready.
Ask me if I'm ready.
All right, are you ready?
Of course.
All right, then I think the decision, of course, lies within the hands of Rwandans. And then, of course, I think from there we're going to determine what's next for our constitution and what's next for amendments.
And
so
I'm very excited about it. I think something very positive is going to come out of it.
All right.
Rwandans are smart.
All right. Perfect then.
You're watching this review edition of Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now, another story that really caught our attention this week was the Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development sharing the plans and strategy of the Securing Land Rights Phase 2. And we're there to bring you all the details. Let's take a look back. Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development shared the plans and strategy of the Securing Land Rights Phase 2 to solicit the input of various stakeholders and also as an opportunity to share the project with the stakeholders for ownership, sustainability, coordination, and collaboration. We're there to bring you the entire event. Let's take a look. Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development shared the plans and strategy of Securing Land Rights Phase 2. The stakeholders meeting brought different groups to share the project for ownership, sustainability, and collaboration. Speaking at the event, Mrs. Anna Kairaba, the director of Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development, stated that Phase 2 of the Securing Land Rights builds on achievements and challenges Phase 1.
We said that you are referring to informal. They can't use any informal law, but they use the informal skills to mediate that integrity, the culture. That's where the mediation comes in. You don't have to be educated to mediate. So it's a mixture, and that's the difference between the abunzi and the formal court. Because the formal court will follow the laws, will follow these big books. Huh? They were trained, educated, they are paid for that. Abunzi, that's why they are not paid. They don't have to read. I like what the Minister of Justice says. Please don't use these laws on abunzi. I don't want to overburden abunzi. Don't ask them. If they are not able to resolve something, an issue, through mediation, through the understanding of issue, like in a family, then you call march.
Also speaking at the meeting was Dr. Emmanuel Nkurunziza, Director General of Rwanda Natural Resources Authority, who commended the long-term partnership with different stakeholders, including RISD, who have worked with the Ministry of Land since 1999 at the time of developing the land policy.
Thank you very much. I think I just have to state that RISD, as one of the main NGOs in the land subsector, has been our partner for many years. So it's not just the phase 1 of this particular project, but there are different areas we've worked with them. But specifically on phase 1, RISD was involved in following up land disputes that mainly arose or were left behind after the land registration program that we were responsible for. So their task was to pilot in a number of sectors mechanisms of helping Abunzis resolve some of these residual land disputes. At the time, the scale was very small. They were working in these same 10 districts, but covering one sector. But really the achievements were very commendable, because they were able to raise the capacity of the Abunzis and help them clear some of the outstanding backlogs of land disputes. So which is why we were happy to support their proposal to scale it up and cover the sectors they were not able to do in the first phase.
Phase 1, we had some expected results that we agreed with our beneficiaries and our donors. And we were supposed to do 3 things. One was about documenting the pending cases during the land tenure regularization, and this was done. The other one was to strengthen the capacity of Abunzi and the local leaders who deal with these issues, and this was done in the 5 sectors where we work very successfully. The third one was about creating awareness within the community itself to appreciate the process of mediation, and so that they also can play a role in that. And I think at the end of this phase 1, it came out clearly that community members are also Abunzi, they can also do mediation, neighbors can do mediation. So I would say that these 3 objectives were well achieved.
According to Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development, Phase 2 of securing land rights will build on Phase 1, mainly focusing on documentation and monitoring backlogs related to land, among others. Ivan Magwene, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
So you attended the event about the land rights.
Yes.
So could you tell us just a little bit about what took place?
Yes. As I earlier said in the introduction of the whole VT, as actually this is the land rights phase 2, which means there was phase 1.
Yes.
So as we're there, we had different discussions, because this was an event organized by the Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development with its stakeholders, which include the Rwanda Natural Resources Authority, and then also the Ministry of Justice. Because first of all, these same stakeholders are working together with the main, I forgot actually the main theme of which was, land reforms that are, going to be sustainable, to reduce poverty and make sure that we have food security. But the main focus, I think, was now on trying to see how best we are going to work in the next few years to secure the phase 2. Part of what I saw what the Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development has been doing is actually more on the solving conflicts first. What we see is that, of course, with land comes conflict, especially now that we see land is a very scarce resource. So that means there's normally these different conflicts taking place. And one of the ways that the Rwanda Initiative for Sustainable Development has used is to use Abunzi. Abunzi, these are locally, local kind of ways in order to solve conflicts, especially without people taking these cases to courts, which again solves the number of courts that go out there in the courts, and also that solves the number
of cases that go.
And you know how expensive really these trials can be. So one of the ways they have used are the Abunzi, and the Abunzi have really done a great job in solving these conflicts, land conflicts especially. So now the question still remains on how best can we come as stakeholders, as people collaborating together to make sure that indeed land is fully utilized, but again, as it is fully utilized, it becomes one of the ways to reduce poverty and also, make sure that we have security in the country in the near future.
Yeah.
Yes.
So could you just name some of the stakeholders?
Well, some of the stakeholders, include, of course, the Ministry of Justice.
Yes.
Also, it includes the Rwanda, the NRA. It includes also different stakeholders, for example, we saw the Rwanda Institute for Sustainable Development. So different stakeholders come together, because with land,
is there a representative for the people?
For the people?
Yes.
I mean, the government is a representative.
Yes, no, definitely. Yes. But I mean, since land, for example, let's say it's within a certain estate or a certain place, and somebody owns land, and let's say maybe it was not rightfully theirs. Do we have somebody that actually represents them?
No, well, I can't say that we have somebody specifically that represents them, but in these cases, normally I think where, you have issues with land rights, I think the right way to go for is the Ministry of Justice.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Of course, business news is coming up next with our very own Yvette Shumbu Show.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
Okay, welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Now, there are some big stories in business and in this news this week, and the story that really caught my attention following the money was the garage. The Car Technique and Trucks garage got covered by myself, of course, and there were a few little surprises here and there. And, well, if you feel very frustrated about any mechanical issues with your car, this is something you should definitely take a look at. Let's take a look back. So I pose a question to you all. Have you ever actually taken your car to the garage and gotten it back thinking all is well, only to be faced with another mechanical issue? Well, you might ask yourself, how can you solve this problem? Well, that's where Car Technique and Trucks comes in. This is a garage which consists of mechanics who specialize at fixing German cars. But that does not mean clients with other branded cars such as Toyota and others cannot be assisted. At Car Technique and Trucks, a lot is possible. Take a look. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda, and today in the business segment we visit Car Technique and Trucks. So that means today I'm going to be a mechanic. So we're going to look at everything they do, what they specialize in, and I have a little surprise for you and you'll see about that later.
Banyita Zefa, ndi umuyobozi w'ikigo Car Technique and Trucks. Ni garage iri ku muhanda wa Pwalu, opposite na Petrocom. Tucuruza service y'amamodoka, ni ukuvuga ngo dukora amamodoka arwaye, tugatera n'amarangi amamodoka, tugakora no kuyagorora. Ikindi dukora ni cyerekeye ubuhinga, imodoka za electronic, dukoresha computer, tugakora na service z'amamodoka dukoresheje ubuhinga bushya bwo kukurura amavuta tutiriwe dufungura hasi y'imodoka, tugakoresha ikidutandukanya n'izindi garage nuko dukorera abantu neza serivisi zabo, tukanabakurikirana, tukababaza imodoka ibibazo zifite, tukabikora, tukaganira umukiriya, tukanamukurikirana nyuma y'ako akazi karangiye kugira tumenye uko atakibazo afite kugira azagaruke yishimye. Dukora Mercedes Benz ko turi specialize mu modoka zo mu Budagi, dushizemo na VW na Audi. Nizo modoka zitworohera ko yewe umuyobozi wazo nabaye i Burayi imyaka myinshi. Ibikoresho dukoresha tubivana i Burayi, mu Budagi, n'ibindi bikava mu Bubiligi, bikaza n'indege kugera ku kibuga cy'Kigali. Umuntu ikintu yakenera cyose kiri cyerekeye imodoka yatugana tukamufasha nta kibazo. Impamvu nahisemo izo modoka nuko nabaye hanze, nabaye mu Budagi, ndangiriza mu Bubiligi, ni nako kazi nakoraga i Burayi kugeza mu mfata umwanzuro wo gutaha gukorera mu Rwanda. Dukora iminsi yose kuva saa 2 za mu gatondo kugeza saa 11 nimugoroba.
Well, of course, let me first of all, when you said German cars,
Yes.
German cars are my favorite, from Audis to Benz to everything. So I'm pretty sure this garage is so classy and so nice.
Extremely.
Oh, cool.
Only the classiest.
So tell
actually.
us about the whole, process. Why even the German cars has their specialty there at the garage?
Okay, so the owner, Zafar, he grew up in Germany and he was very interested in cars. So growing up in Germany, when he came back, he thought, you know what, I love cars, I love fixing cars, I love German cars, I know a lot about German cars, so why not open a garage? And so he did, and right now he's servicing so many clients, and the funny thing is that he does not get less than at least 5 clients per day. And that's only per day.
Per day.
So imagine the next day and the following day, and they all pay big, as
Okay.
in, you
I
know,
get
German
you.
cars.
I know,
To
right.
fix them, it takes a lot. But yes, and it's a good place. It's open space, and there's enough space for people to work. They actually even have body painting for cars. They have, there's this other really cool technology I experienced where it was a Mercedes-Benz, and one of the mechanics looked at the car and then got an iPad
Oh.
and then put in the how do you say it? Put in the problem, and then English is not our first language.
Okay.
So he put in the problem. She
The
placed
diagnostic
the
problem.
and then the iPad was able to give her the solution
Wow.
to the car's problem, and I'm thinking, wow.
Wow.
Because you know, most of these cars, especially the latest, are operated by technology, all of them, right? So yeah, that was quite impressive. And having a garage in Rwanda that is able to do that,
course.
it just shows you the
Now, of
amount
course, one thing that I'm always looking out for if you want to take your car to your garage is, of course, security, you know, is number one, and also the space. And, you know, you don't want to take your car to a garage and then when you're out of the
Exactly.
garage, even have worse problems
Exactly.
than that. So what's the uniqueness of that garage in terms of, you know, all those requirements, the security, the space, even the kind of services you get? Because I know for most people, they're so impatient to get their cars out of the garage. So do they have, like, you know, you getting your car tomorrow, or, you know, a deadline for when they're going to, you know, be done with the solving the problem with your car?
Okay, so first of all, apart from it's just being specialized,
I want to know the services.
Yeah, the mechanics specializing in these German cars, that means they have thorough knowledge on these cars. So that's one unique aspect of the garage. A second thing, it's very secure because he has cameras all over the place.
Wow.
Yes, and he's worked with some of these mechanics for a very, very long time. So there's, you know, there's trust and there's a relationship that has been built. There's a bond, and there are enough people, enough mechanics to work on each car. You know, you don't have that where the mechanic has like 5 cars to work with in the next, like, let's say 10 hours. You know, everybody has their specific station. And then another thing, well, there's enough space, and then there's so many tools. They have this whole storage where they have spares, and they are able to actually ship in some more spares through, actually, with transport, air transport, every time a car is needed to be fixed. And let's say, for example, they don't have the spare there and then. And so those are some of the aspects, unique aspects of it.
Seems quite an interesting place for your car.
Yes, it is.
So for people who are
Future
just
cars.
crazy, of course, future cars. We're praying soon. It's coming. One.
Yes,
So we're
indeed.
praying for a Benz, Audi, or something, or Volkswagen.
G-Wagon, let's be specific.
All right.
You're now up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming in just a minute with Moses Birikunzira.
You are watching Rise and Shine's weekly review show. On to sports now. Well, a 2-day rally, 2000 Colin, that started on Friday last week and ended on Saturday the same week, costing an estimated 50 million Rwandan francs, according to organizers. Unit Club kicked off and ended last week. Let's take a look back.
2-day rally, the Mil Corin, which costed an estimated 50 million, according to organizers Unity Kigali Club, that started on Friday and Saturday last week, was ended last week on Saturday evening. Burundian driver Muhammad Abbas Roshanari emerged the winner of the 2015 Rwanda National Rally Championship with 77 points in Nyamata, Bugesera district. I was there to bring you all the details. Take a look. The first day of rally, the Mil Corin 2015, attracted 7,000 drivers, 3 Rwandans, 3 Burundians, and 1 from Uganda. Drivers drove around Nyamata and saw different for 25 kilometers to complete the race, total of 75 kilometers. Burundian driver Mohamed Abbas Roshanari emerged the winner of the 2015 Rwanda National Rally Championship after using 54 minutes and 21 seconds, which ended on Saturday in Nyamata, Bugesera district. Roshanari, who was navigated by Ali Hassan, was followed by Ugandan crew of Mwanda Ndeba, Banu, and Matsuri Diaz in second position with 1 hour, 12 minutes, 48 seconds, while Hussein Demozo and Regis Lumera were third. Roshanari had 46 points before the start of the rally and went on to accumulate another 28 points in 2-day rally for Mil Corin, to move top of overall Zawadi Victor also earned 28 points in 2-day event, tracking 73 points. The Canada was to win the event, but was involved in an accident in the last stage in Rwanda, which forced him to pull out. The Victor sorry for not maintaining the lead on top of the Rwanda National Rally Championship. As the Kalinda era concluded on Saturday, Rwanda drivers will fit to win the next year's championship.
Moses, now, for any person, of course, switching on to TV, sports has been turned over by the revolution of the FIFA scandals.
Absolutely.
Sepp Blatter, now writing letters, at least to clarify himself. But do you think at this moment Sepp Blatter still has that control voice over these kind of meetings and over these kind of authoritarians in the FIFA?
Absolutely, he doesn't have that chance, but he's trying to clear himself. He's trying to prove to the world that what happened, everyone else was aware of it. Because it's like, he said the term Spanish Inquisition is colloquially used to describe being asked questions which those facing in the letter, those facing them do not feel they need to answer. It's like they're asking questions of which he doesn't want to answer, because what they're asking him, they know also. When they happened, they were there, because the FIFA Ethics Committee was there during all these years when Blatter, all these 17 years when Blatter was the president of FIFA, since he was even a secretary of FIFA before that time. And this 1,350,000, they're accusing him after he was suspended for 90 days with Michel Platini. Those are the questions he's asking himself. How on earth you're asking me these questions? And you knew when things happened, you were there. Why didn't you ask them when I was there? And you waited for this moment. And again, he sent these letters to 209 federations, including our very own Ferwafa. They are also there to tell them exactly how things
happened. Of course, I can't wait to see if Ferwafa has a decision to make on whether Sepp Blatter stays or not. But of course, moving on is the special one, commonly known as the special one, the great one. Is this his downfall? Would it be the final touch that Jose Mourinho is leaving Chelsea?
Again, it's a question that everybody has been asking since the beginning of the season.
Of course, Abramovich ready to release that kind of money.
He will definitely do, because there's two things that you need to ask yourself. Can Chelsea accept being 1 point above relegation zone? Can they do? The defending champion. Again, since 1888, when Premier League started, no team has had 9+ defeats that stayed in championship.
A team that took a defending champion.
And the defending champion is another case. I'm saying no team, whether you are defending, whether you are from a relegation zone, no team had 9+ defeats in 15 games or 16 games that stayed in championship. For this case now, Chelsea, Chelsea is a big brand. There are Champions League, there is commercials, there's sponsors. Everyone is looking at Chelsea as, can we accept this? And the board meeting, we will see what comes out, but probably we never know what will happen.
Then we see what holds the future.
Absolutely.
For the Chelsea fans out there. But we can't wait to see what Abramovich and the board says. Well, stay with us. Local and international news coming up next in just a few minutes.
It's unbelievable, but what you see is what you pay.
the moment you all have been waiting for, including my partner in crime here. Time for lifestyle. Yes, this is our crime section. So our favorite stories this week in lifestyle, we looked at how art can help advocate for stop in the gender-based violence. And now we take a look back at that. Welcome back and on to lifestyle with me, Yvette Shimbusho, just stepping in for Sherry Wase. And today on Lifestyle, we're going to be talking about how art can actually be able to help us advocate for stop in gender-based violence. I met up with Jason Coder, who is a cultural envoy who was brought in by the U.S. Embassy. And we just talk about how we can be able to bring artists together to be able to make portraits and be able to influence people so we can be able to stop gender-based violence. Take a look. Hey. Welcome back to the show, and joining me today is Jason Coder. So we know that you are a filmmaker, a producer, yes, a script writer, and a composer. Is there anything I've left out?
An actor.
Actor, and cultural envoy.
And cultural envoy.
Okay, perfect. And so now we know that you've traveled all the way from Nairobi to come and conduct a workshop. So this is creating art for positive social change, yes? Okay, great.
Yes, exactly.
And the workshop is themed One Voice, from peace in the home to peace in the world.
That's right.
And so you're advocating for the stop of gender-based violence.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So we're on the same page on this.
You got it all perfectly.
So before I even say any more, I would like to first welcome you on the show.
Thank
it's
you.
very good to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. So for somebody that does not really understand, for the sake of those who don't understand what a cultural envoy is, could you kindly just explain to us?
Sure. Well, I was brought here on behalf of the American Embassy here in Kigali. And essentially, I mean, a cultural envoy is someone who is brought in to do a cultural project, you know, to communicate something through culture. And this is actually the second time that I've done a similar project in Rwanda. I was actually here as well with the embassy a year ago, doing a project as well, an art painting workshop. The theme a year ago was about democracy. So this year we really wanted to focus on GBV, on gender-based violence, and especially on creating a dialogue around it, because I think we all acknowledge that, I mean, GBV is a huge problem everywhere. It's a huge problem in America, it's a huge problem in Kenya, and it's obviously a problem in Rwanda as well. And I think the idea was that if people are open about it, that is the first step to enacting positive change.
Okay.
And that's one of the things we wanted to do here, is to say to guys, hey, this is a problem, but it's not going to go away unless we acknowledge it and we talk about it. And that, again, the same is true in my country, and I think, you know, most places in the world.
Okay. So can you tell us just a little bit about the workshop that you're conducting?
So I was lucky enough to be paired up with the master Rwandan artist Epa Binamungu, who has the most beautiful studio gallery out in Masaka that is just mind-blowing, and everyone should go and visit it if you haven't been out there yet. So we worked together for this workshop, and working with a lot of the top young professional Rwandan artists. I would say most of them in their early 20s, but already quite accomplished. And
both male and female?
Yes, both male and female, which was of course very important for the workshop. And I taught them to essentially do the kind of technique that I do in my own visual art. I don't know if we said that at the beginning. I'm also a visual artist. Did you say that?
No, we did not.
Okay, that's actually my background.
Okay.
Before I got into filmmaking, I was actually a painter for 20 years, and a professor at times. So I learned from my time in Africa to use natural materials as a way of painting. So using things like earth and wood ash and sand, and here we were using sorghum, farine de blé, you know, we're just anything you can get your hands on that's essentially free and sustainable. So that was the difference in this workshop. It wasn't just that we were going and painting as we normally do, we were using those types of materials within a painting as well. So the paintings that they created, yes, they were on the theme of GBV, but they were also just the way they looked visually, they were quite different than the normal paintings that they made.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So now that we're focusing on art, and even on my research on you, your focus is usually art, and making sure that people understand the importance of art in education,
Yes.
and treating the environment well, and also of course gender equality.
Yes.
So why art? What is the essence about? What is so important about art, and why didn't you use something like baking or sewing in order to get your message across?
Yeah. I think, what I've found from this workshop and last year and the other work I've done as a cultural envoy, art is a great way to communicate to the masses. And I think that artists are given a little extra freedom in a way that other people in a society don't necessarily have. People say, oh yeah, it's the artists. Let them speak their mind. So I think it's a really great forum in which to reach people with messages. And that can be done through painting, as we did. It can be done through music, of course. I mean, musicians are possibly the most loved artists around the world right now. And so if a musician makes a song that has a message, that's going to really reach people as well. We should, I think, encourage musicians out there. You guys should get a little more socially conscious, those of you who are not, because they're really the superstars of today.
No, definitely.
So, but art is also a great way to do that. And we found that in these workshops. Like just last night, we had the third exhibition that we held of this workshop, which was in Huye. So we were at the university there.
So, from your view, in your opinion, how can we come together as a nation and the world in general in order to stop or at least put a stop to this the gender-based violence?
Yeah. Well, as you said, the title of the show is the first part of it is one voice.
Yes.
And that idea is something that I've been thinking about for a long time because we've had some very horrible experiences with GBV in Kenya. And the idea behind one voice is that in order for us to succeed as a society in terms of gender equality, the men are going to have to be included in that solution.
Yes.
It's not enough to just have women become empowered on their own, but the men stay sort of where they are in the past. They have to come with the women as we move forward, as we evolve as a society, and thus speak with one voice.
Yes.
So I think my answer would be two parts. One is that we have to change men, is really because men are the one ultimately that are oppressing women.
Yes. Or at least they're the ones. The most cases are men oppressing women.
Yeah, I mean,
because we have some cases where women also.
We have some, and I mean, yes, women are powerful. We all fear them as men, but they're not. I mean, let's be honest, 99.9% of the time. So we really have to, I think, educate men. We have to convince them that, that woman that you are mistreating now, if you do that to her, a man is going to do that to your daughter. And do you want to see your daughter beaten and mistreated by a man? No, of course you don't. Do you want to see your mother mistreated? No. And I think, women are 50% of our society. They're in charge of our families. As we say, all life passes through them. So I don't think there's a greater thing that we can do for our society than to empower our women and stop disempowering them. So let's keep up the fight.
Yes, definitely. Is this your last day?
Yes, I go back tomorrow to Kenya.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
And now they always say, of course, behind a good, picture, there's always 1,000 words.
Yes.
And what a good way, of course, to use art, to stop and make awareness of gender-based violence. Tell me a little bit about the whole idea.
Well, art speaks. Just by drawing, you can be able to say, like you said, 1,000 words. And Jason Coder is a cultural envoy. So he came in, brought by the U.S. Embassy, in order so that we can advocate for a stop in gender-based violence. So he went to Huye, actually. His last trip was in Huye. And I don't remember exactly the other districts, but he mentions them in the shoot. And he visited different districts and he worked with artists. And the last district he was in Butare in Huye. And they were given a chance to show what gender-based violence meant to them. And there's this one artist who drew a face of the lady and then is it put a lock on her mouth? Just shows you how we don't have a voice. I mean, we're being mistreated and we don't have a voice. And we need to be able to stop that. And so I sat down with him, as you've seen, and we talked a little bit about the art, and we talked about the essence of art, and be able to communicate and put across this message of stopping gender-based violence. And he told me a bit of, you know, himself and how he thinks art is the best form of communication when it comes to such issues, and how, of course, he's an advocate to advocate of stopping gender-based violence.
Now, as a person moving on, of course, displaying a very important message. How did he? How was the whole experience for him? Did people attend and, you know, look at the galleries?
Definitely. I mean, there was a lot, especially in Huye, because of the university students. They all came in. They were very inspired, and actually, they were impressed. You know, this is not something that is openly communicated or openly spoken about in Rwanda. You know, when somebody beats you in your own home, you keep it to yourself. Even in our culture, we don't really talk much of things in the home, you know. So it was inspiring to them, and he was very impressed with attendance, and a lot of people came, and they were very interested in, you know, how art can be such a good platform, a good tool in order to communicate gender-based violence. And they touched on gender-based violence, of course, and what it meant, and how we can stop it, and how men need to be involved in the process of being able to stop gender-based violence, because they begin it, so they might as well contribute to ending it.
Of course.
Yes.
It's a he for she.
Yes.
And she for he.
And she for he.
All right.
All right, thank you. Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports we do. Finally, find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your pictures. And check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website, www.riseandshinerwanda.com. Well, that is all the time we have for you today. We love to hear your feedback, so keep sending them in. And do let us know if you have any ideas for any programs, actually. You have been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Yvette Shumbusho.
And me, Ivan Magwene. We'll be at same time, same place on Monday. Do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a very good day and even a better weekend. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.